That sun in the sky is very deceiving. It is freezing outside. It's 22 degrees. Hey guys, I did not get a chance to film this morning because I was running a little bit behind schedule. I left to go help with my father-in-law, and then I had a nail appointment right after that. So check out my pretty nails. It is 1 o'clock. I'm in my car. I'm getting ready to start dashing, but I wanted to show you guys real quick. I know I sound like a broken record, but what I brought with me, which was my fat coffee. I have my 2 bottles of water with my electrolytes, of course, baggy bacon, brown butter bites, and 2 hard-boiled eggs. So I always keep a little Redmond regular salt shaker in my purse, and I also have this one that has the smoked salt in it. So I will usually put one or the other on my hard-boiled eggs. Today we're gonna do the smoked salt. Guys, it's day 31. Can you believe it? It's the last day of BBBE. For us, I know that there are some people, this is kind of what I do, I make a mess, but I know there are several of you out there who are going to continue BBBE, or you're just starting it in the month of February. So we are here to support you any way that we possibly can. Mike and I will be back with you. We're doing a quick, simple, easy dinner tonight, which is just bacon wrapped hot dogs, maybe some scrambled eggs, so that we can be done recording in time to do our interview with James and Emily from Ready Set Keto. So we'll see you guys tonight. Good evening, everyone. Happy last day.
Oh, hey, what's that reflection in the window? It's light. It's light at the end of the tunnel. We made it.
Not quite. It's not the end of the day yet, but technically
we're there, yeah.
So I've already mentioned this. We have our interview tonight. So we did a very, very simple dinner. This is 2 hot dogs wrapped in bacon that I cooked in the air fryer, and we each have 4 scrambled eggs cooked in bacon fat.
Yep.
And then I will have a little bit of mustard. Mike does not like mustard,
right.
But
I like to be different. I like to think outside the box. You know, so speaking of the end of BBBE, you know, we were discussing a little bit off camera about this, you know, being the last day. And so I have coworkers that are aware of my BBBE challenge this month. And today they thought it would be funny to start handing me stuff for February 1st. So one by one, several employees would come into my office bringing sugary snacks and drinks and all kinds of garbage. But they were...
Mike is keto flexible, but I don't expect him tomorrow because it's February 1st to like go off the rails.
No, I won't. But it was just funny because all through the month of January, you know, they would be eating their stuff, their junk, their sweets and stuff, and they would be like, oh, Mike can't have this, Mike can't have that. So today it was like, hey, Mike, it's the last day. February 1st, here's a February 1st can of pop. Here's a February 1st candy bar. I mean, they were just being really silly about it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I actually thought it was kind of cool because, I mean, they could have all just been like, what a freak, you know?
Yeah.
But they weren't. They were being cool about it, and I just thought that was kind of neat. And I'm drinking my water and, you know, eating my lunch, which my lunch was...
I was going to ask you what you had for lunch.
Yeah, my lunch was the leftover hamburger that I had a couple nights ago because yesterday I did not eat lunch at all.
And he had another super busy day at work today because it's the end of the month. I don't know if you guys have jobs where things get really crazy at the end of the month.
Yeah.
But for him it does.
It does. It's very crazy. And
so he was really nervous. He may not have time to eat again today, but he said he made sure that he made time.
Yeah, I stopped in the middle of the chaos and ate. So it was the leftover hamburger. It was in the roast broth that we had from last night. We did have roast last night, right?
No, we had steaks.
Yeah, so it was from a couple nights ago. So it got to sit in there for like a day and a half or so.
It probably really soaked up.
Oh,
that
it was
juice.
Fantastic. And there was still a little bit of roast in there and a few the Egg Life noodles. So I ate all that. I drank my water. I did not eat any of the pork rinds I took with me. That was all I ate. But I did make sure I ate something because I didn't want to go 2 days in a row with no food.
And I already told you guys, I just kind of had a short day today because I got my nails done and then I had to be home to like get dinner done. So I only worked for like three and a half hours maybe.
I went into work early today, an hour early, and I ended up being over an hour and a half. That's how busy it was. I don't work overtime, ever.
I'm kind of nervous about weighing in tomorrow. I know that seems silly, but I'm afraid, like, after all this, that maybe I might be disappointed in the results or something. I don't know. It's just, I just have this weird, like...
But don't set yourself up for that, because I know you're thinking about last year and what you lost last year. So you're going to think about that. Don't think about that. This is a totally different year. You're a different person. You're in a different place. I think we all have an expectation of where we're going to be, but I mean, I was talking about this today because some people were asking me about, you know, told them we had a weigh-in tomorrow because they're like, how much weight have you lost? And I'm like, I don't know. Haven't weighed ourselves yet. I said, but I feel, and I mean this, I feel better today than I have felt, I think, since I've been an adult. Pretty close. I mean, when I was young, I mean, get it. I get it. I was in good, you know,
when
great
you're
health.
Young, you don't think about how you feel.
Not really, because you're on the go.
You just take it for granted, though, that you feel good.
But I feel amazing right now.
Well, then you definitely don't want to be eating and drinking all the stuff that they brought you into work.
No, but I was explaining that to them, that I legitimately feel better than I've felt in probably the last 20 years.
That's crazy.
And I feel lighter.
You are.
I feel
I'm sure you are.
lighter.
Everyone was commenting on my picture I posted yesterday, but then people were also saying that you also look slimmer, so.
Speaking of your picture, I showed that picture to a coworker. She was asking questions about BBBE.
And just real quick, this is the reason you guys don't have to hit people over the head with keto. If you are living this lifestyle, people will see your results and they will ask you about it.
Yep.
You don't have to force it on anybody.
No,
So
so
anyway.
she knew I was doing this already, and she has told me in the past that she also was doing low carb, but that's all she said. It wasn't keto or anything specific.
Yeah, low carb can mean a lot of things.
I know
so.
it can, but that's what she said. She was one of the people that knew that today was the last day of the challenge, and so she was asking me about it. Same thing, you know, how much weight do you think you've lost, blah, blah, blah. And as I was explaining it to her and how I felt, that I feel amazing, I feel lighter, you could tell she was genuinely interested, and I said, I'm going to show you a picture of my wife.
Pictures taken 28 days apart.
These are, yeah, I said, these are both taken the same month, one on the 1st, one on the 28th. Take a look at them. And she looked at it and she was like, holy crap, because she's never met you. Yeah, she was like, holy cow. And I said, and it's just from eating what I've been telling you this whole month. And she's like, like you could see the light bulb go off.
Yeah.
So whether or not she tries it, I don't know, but you're exactly right. You don't have to beat them over the head. You just have to let the results speak for themselves.
I mean, that's the reason my sister started it. I never went to her and said, oh, you should do this. You got to do this. You're going to feel so much better. Someone has to be ready to do it, and they have to make the decision for themselves. So if they just see you doing it, sometimes that's just enough. All right, guys, I said this was going to have to be a short video because of the interview, and we still got to set up for that. But we're just going to kind of talk a little bit about this last chapter. To be honest with you, it doesn't really apply to, I mean, it applies, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it's not geared for common folk like you and I. It's really kind of a letter, an open letter to
doctors.
Other doctors.
Yeah. And he breaks it up by new doctors, older doctors, med students, you know, things that they need to be doing and things that they need to be watching out for. And he just basically says, you know what? At one point, he had it all wrong. He was telling patients that had diverticulitis not to eat seeds and nuts. He was prescribing statins and metformin to his patients. He was telling his patients to stay out of the sun and cut back on salt. All the things that this book has said is a lie. He was telling his patients that because that's what he believed.
It's what he was taught.
Right. So he's saying as a doctor, it's your job to continue to learn, read the new research, not just the conclusions, but read the research and pass it on to your patients, to listen to your patients if they bring something to you, because we have as much medical knowledge at our fingertips as, you know, seasoned doctors had, you know, back in the day.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I think that out of that whole chapter, that's what I got the most. The modern medicine today is, and the information available because of the internet, is unlike any time in history. And we, you and me and everybody out there, are our own doctors.
Right.
I mean, we're not professionally trained or,
I mean, he said that patients 90% of the time, they already know what's wrong with them and have already diagnosed what's wrong with them when they come into the doctor's office.
And that's just from looking it up. That's not taking into account that you know your own body better than anyone else.
Right.
But yeah, as a doctor, he's saying you've got to be open to that. You have to allow yourself.
At one time, this information was only available in books and doctors had to learn that way.
Yep.
Well, now we have access access to all of it.
And you can either fight it, and then you're eventually just going to pay the consequences because
you're going to become
obsolete.
Obsolete.
I mean, yeah.
He said as obsolete as a VCR is what he said.
Yeah.
Because your patients aren't going to need you if you're giving them bad information, or if you're not willing to listen to them. If they bring you something that they've read on the internet, you need to be willing to listen to what they're telling you. Mm-hmm. He also tells doctors you need to be worried that patients are going to realize you don't know what you're talking about.
He also reminds the doctors, including himself, that they don't know it all. That they're not
to be upset if a patient brings you information.
Right. They're not doing medicine, they're practicing medicine. And that's something that a lot of people forget. It's a constant learning curve. You never reach the top.
He says your patients are going to remember you clearly as a doctor who either got it right or got it wrong. Mm-hmm. He breaks it down and just tells them to keep reading, keep learning, listen to your patients, read outside your medical field. Don't just read what, the things that pertain to you.
Yeah, broaden your horizons. Don't be afraid to step outside the box. Because he mentioned other forms of medicine, herbologists and I don't know. I can't remember the other. There's like 3 or 4, different types of medical personnel now that are out there, even including chiropractors. And that new field of medicine is becoming more and more popular because they are not following the norm.
Right. And they are willing to listen to their patients.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing he says is you got to remember that medicine is a constant evolving thing. There was a time when we thought that leeches could heal us.
Right.
He used that example. And obviously we know now, we know better. We know that that's not the case. At the time, that was the standard practice of medicine, but that didn't mean it was right and it wasn't correct.
Mm-hmm.
So even though something is the standard practice of medicine doesn't necessarily mean that it is 100% perfect.
Right.
So that's it. Unless you have anything else to add to it.
No, nothing to add to the book itself other than it's a great book. You liked what you heard over the course of the month. I mean, you want to get a little more detail. I would advise that you pick up the book.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a plug. It's just every once in a while you get a hold of a book that just grabs your attention.
And we didn't even pay for the book. It was free. Mike wanted it Ketopalooza.
Right.
But thank you guys all very much. I was going through the comments this evening. Sorry I didn't get to them sooner, but again, it's been a busy day. But thank you guys. There have been, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at them.
I haven't even finished watching the actual video yet.
There's been a lot of suggestions of books that we can look into possibly reading next.
Well, I guess we'll have to take a look at that.
Carb confusion and some other ones about sugar. I'm going to pull it up and make a list. Thank you guys all for that. And thank you so much for taking this journey with us.
Oh, yeah.
It has been a whirlwind month.
I didn't know how it was going to be. It was tough. I'm not going to lie. It was very difficult for me because I am keto flexible. I did it because Dawn asked me to do it with her. She didn't want to do it alone. And I accepted the challenge. It was hard. But there's something here that I have to not come to terms with, but just I want to admit to you, and that is that doing this video with you, doing this channel with you during the month of January has helped keep me accountable.
Which is the reason I started it.
Exactly. And so I just want to thank everybody, and thank you as well, honey. But I may have given up. I may have thrown in the towel at one of our functions, but having this channel and knowing that you guys were basically cheering us on really made it easier for me, and I appreciate that.
So stay tuned for tomorrow's video. Make sure that you have hit that bell notification button so when that video comes out, you guys can see what the final results are.
It's going to be like winning the lottery tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about all of our goals for the month, whether we hit them or not, because I had, I think, 6 goals that I had set up for the month of January, so we're going to touch on all that. We had a couple people ask to give our best advice on what somebody starting beef, butter, bacon, and eggs could do. Like, what is your best advice for it? And I think that we will touch on that tomorrow as well. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right. Have a good evening.
Day 1 of Love Keto, Love Yourself.